Good day. My name is Brian Smith. I'm a student at Full Sail University working on my mobile gaming masters, and I'm also working on milestone number 4 for my World War I Flying Circus. Three major things that I want to take you through: tailing, lost contact, and network rainy day. So I'm going to dive right into the tailing. And the tailing is best described through demonstration. So to demonstrate that, I've got the World War I Flying Circus working on this antique Android S5 over here, which is the screen that you're seeing being shared. But I also have over here, and you can't see that because I couldn't share both screens at the same time, I've got it running on my Macintosh, not in the Unity environment, running on the Macintosh. So for the Macintosh, I'm going to say let's do network play because I got tailing and the lost contact processing. I got them working first on the pass and play. That was hard enough. And then I got them working on network play. And that was hard enough. So I want to show you the that was hard enough on top of the that was hard enough, knowing then that the pass and play is most likely working too. So over here, let me drive the Android, go over to network play. So it's looking for a lobby, found a lobby, and then in the search, if you click on the left there, is actually finding a game room. So I will create the game room over here on the Macintosh. I will find the game room there, and then when it finds a pair of players, it's time for a dogfight. So I'll click dogfight over here on the Macintosh and dogfight there, and we're thrown into a game. So we're going to do this tailing, and I'm going to do on the Mac over here. Got Baron von Red is going to go aggressively and go after Lord Olive there. And Lord Olive is going to make a fateful mistake and see Baron von Red and go, yikes, let me do a wing over to the left, trying to run away, and there's the Baron right on his tail. So the advantage in World War I Flying Circus is that if you are on the tail of your opponent needs to give you a hint as to their maneuver, whether they're going to be turning to the left, going straight, or turning to the right. And it gives you then an advantage to know what to do as you're following them. And so you can see here from the indications up here, this tailing has popped up. So we know now Baron von Red is tailing. And Lord Olive, who this is Lord Olive, is watching the screen here, is being tailed. And on Baron von Red's message there, I've got waiting for other pilot because I need to wait for Lord Olive to make his or her move. So for Lord Olive, they're just going to, let's say, go straight, just straight ahead on the hex, like that. And now over here, Baron von Red is saying, oh, hey, I'm now I can follow it, and I'm going to be a little bit cautious, and I'm going to do I'm going to be very cautious. I'm going to do an element. I'm going to turn around. And you can see then we're back to normal gameplay here. Nobody is tailing the other. So Lord Olive is also now going to do an element and start tailing Baron von Red. Baron von Red's just going to go a stall straight. And now you can see from the other point of view, we have Lord Olive. He is tailing the tailed Baron von Red, with the orange indicating it's being tailed, waiting for the other pilot. So Baron von Red's got to make his move, and he's going to go straight, straight with a barrel roll to the right, but it's a straight maneuver. And as soon as he selects that, bam, we're over here. We get this indication now, the plotting maneuvers come up and get this indication that we know that Baron von Red has gone straight. So one of these straight maneuvers, one of these straight maneuvers, either at fast or cruising or slow, we know that Baron von Red has picked one of these maneuvers because of this tailing feature. And if we can, let's say we just guess here, we're just going to go straight forward one. There's the Baron von Red doing the barrel roll away from us. So that's the tailing feature. And so it really adds a lot to the game. Okay, so I'll quit out of that. And the next thing I want to take you through in the network play. Okay, so here is the bug. I'm going to have to fire these back up again. So I got a problem in my state machine. And the fun of application development. That's not what I wanted. Okay. Let's get into the apps, fire up World War I Flying Circus again, and I'll fire it up with Macintosh. And I'm going to do the lost contact processing. Get everything set up over here. Okay. All right, so here we are back to network play, network, network. Get into there. And so now we're going to do the lost contact processing. Click on find the room. All right, let's do a dogfight. So for lost contact processing, that Baron von Red, I'm looking at it over here. He's going to turn and go way to the right as fast as he can. And Lord Olive is going to turn to the left, and through the process of that, they will be far enough away where they'll lose contact, lose sight of each other. Now, there's two reasons for lost contact. One is with the asynchronous plot simultaneous play with World War I Flying Circus. It's very possible, like I just did here, where one player will make a fast maneuver going in one direction, and the other player will make a fast maneuver going in a different direction, and they will go far enough away where it's not practical to bring them all back together again. And in this case, both players would say, hey, I want to continue searching for the enemy. So Baron von Red will do the search over here, and I'll do the continue searching for the enemy over here. And we're back to square one, or hex one. This is a hexagon-based base game. Back to hex one, where both players are in a situation where they don't have an advantage over the other. So let's do this again. So let's do the same kind of loss processing, where Baron von Red will be turning to the right as fast as he can go. Lord Olive will do the same, and we will lose contact with each other. The second reason for the lost contact is if you're really shot up and you're fearful of getting shot down, you may want to try to do barrel rolls and fast maneuvers to try to get away from your opponent. So in this case, we'll assume Baron von Red is really hurting, and so he will do the running dog and flee the field. And he's getting the message waiting for contact. And over here, Lord Olive says, I want to continue on. And so he will search. And now we have Lord Olive wins with the congratulations. So Lord Olive will get a lot of prestige points for driving Baron von Red from the field. Not as many as if he would have shot down Baron von Red. But Baron von Red, he gets coward. You fled like this scared dog while Lord Olive continues to search for you. And so Baron von Red would lose prestige, but not as much, of course, as if he was shot down. So that's that is the lost contact processing. And the cool thing about the lost contact processing is then there's really the two choices. It gives you the four possibilities. The other result from that is if both say, hey, I'm fleeing the field, then if both say, hey, I'm fleeing the field, then it's a draw, right? Because both have fled, and it's just a draw, and there's no winner or loser with that. So that's the enhancements that added both to the passive play and to the network play. So with this, make this a little bit bigger, and I'm going to share my screen now. And have that stop, and just do the desktop, and I'm going to show you the code to make this all happen, and talk then through the changes that I did for the rainy day network processing. Okay, so one of the things that I have in World War I Flying Circuits in terms of code, it's in Unity, C#, is I've got each of the screens that are handling I used to work for a large multinational corporation. We called it MRI, Machine Readable Information. Don't know why it's called Machine Readable, because it's the information on the screen for the humans. But I've got this such that I've got this configurator coded such that I just say, from a main logic point of view, hey, I just want to update the the canvas for the lobby, pass it a few parameters, and then the logic is over here in the localization my, and also two, the text that I get. This is a keyword-based text string, so I look up to a dictionary of all the information about it. So just a way to kind of abstract that. And so that was part of the refactoring for the lobby, is to get this. So it was easy to just add states and add screens, so I could just really work with it a lot easier. So that really it took a little bit of time, of course, to get it to working, but once you get it working, then it makes all the other changes a lot easier. The other thing that I did, and this was uh, for the network play, is the network play I had the maneuvers hard-coded, and I only had 6 maneuvers hard-coded, but I needed to get up to all 20. There's a total of 27 different maneuvers. I had done that for the tailing, but I hadn't refactored it or got it working for the network play. And so it was really the integration of this um, this I wrote specifically for the passive play, and then I had to tailor back in the main program, which is over here, this WWI Flying Circus over here. I had to tailor so that network play could evoke this rather than its hard-coded version. So there's a little bit of work involved with that. And then in the lobby manager, so for the networking, for the rainy day networking, the majority of the coding changes were in here. So it was basically for the rainy day kind of processing, I had just it was all the logic and the state, which is built into if then else statements. It was hard to understand where you were and hard to make any kind of changes to something like that, especially to support rainy day kinds of scenarios. So built in more kind of the states for the connecting states to go through. And then 2, if there are any errors, I wanted to be able to identify those errors and identify that, why I'm here, why am I getting an error, so that I can keep track of that from a state point of view too. So that was a big, worthy change there. So those kinds of changes really made this progression of on connecting to the photon master, and then just updating what is displayed to the screen based upon these past parameters. So it really made is like bam, 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 bam. You just go through these things. If there is an error, these errors come back to me on like the on disconnected or on failed to connect or on disconnected from photon. I tested all these by breaking the networks at different places. And as the errors come back, then I've got my error message and I've got my state, and it just simplified the rainy day scenario from the point when the user says, I want to start the network, not start network play, to the point where we're actually in the game. And so it just made this whole thing, you can see all of these are just fairly simple, nice, straight, sweet, and very beautiful looking. So that was the rainy day for the network. And I do have some more rainy day work for the network, and that is, and I don't have this finished yet, but now that once you're in the gameplay, there can be network problems. So I've got some rainy day kinds of scenarios there that I've got working, but probably the big rainy day scenario that I don't have working yet is you're in the game, you're playing away, and the other guy or gal just goes AFK. And so what I want to do in that is, if you don't respond in a certain amount of time, so I have to set a timer, I want that biplane just to go forward 1. And if they do that, of course, enough turns, the other person will recognize that they're AFK and be able to sweep in behind them and shoot them down, but that's their trouble. So that's the goal of what I want to do with that, but that is not coded yet. Couldn't get around to that in this week, in this sprint. All right, so back here now into the main program. This is the Galactic Center of the WWI Flying Circus. All the major changes, I've have a keyword here of this milestone number 4. So let me just search through those. Right at the beginning here, I had to create a couple new states. One for a tailing state, and another for a lost contact state. So that's just part of my state machine there. Like I said, I've got some bug where I'm at the end of all that, and I need to get back to my main screen, and something is not working there. I'll get that fixed. Okay, so second is this is in the big update loop. Right, so this is the loop that runs every frame, and in that update loop, in addition to all the other kinds of things that say, is this happening, is that happening, I do test to see if I've lost contact. And it basically is just if the distance, right, is greater than a constant for the lost distance, the maximum distance for being lost, right, then hey, I go into this mini state called this lost contact that you saw earlier. So that's easy enough. Now, if there's no winner, and let's see, so nobody has been shot down, let's calculate then to see if one of the planes has been tailed or not. I'll take you through that logic, but basically it's a little bit of it's programming is, I think, hard. Mathematics is hard, but programming mathematics, I think, is easy, if that makes sense. But it's just good old-fashioned sines and cosines and angles and things that you learned in high school geometry. So anyway, I'll take you through that, and we just keep track then in a Boolean here, if this plane is being tailed. The way the tailing mechanics work, both cannot be tailing at the same time. So either there's no tailing going on, or one is being tailed, or the other is being tailed. So then we, if this is a network game or not, we have to take a look to see if there is tailing going on, right? And if the other player has plotted, whether we are going to go into a waiting state or a tailing state or a plotting state. So there's a little bit of logic that goes on here in terms of what state to enter in if we're being tailed, and whether it's a network game or not, and whether it's this plane being tailed or not. So a little bit of logic, but it's basically state driven with that. Okay, so that's the up there in that update loop. Always trying to keep that update loop as efficient as possible, and because we don't want to spend a lot of time in there. All right, so here's the set destination net, and this is the other side. Remember in the maneuvers, we had this calc end angle position. This is the other side of that, where we're actually evoking that. So a lot of heavy math is being done there, and this is where we're actually evoking. I just kind of wanted to show that in the set destination for the network side. It took, I had this up here was where I hard coded those 6 maneuvers, and now I've replaced that with this which handles it for all 27 different maneuvers. There was probably about 30 or 40 lines of code up there that's deleted and replaced with a refactored code down here. So I just wanted to show that off. Okay, then here for the it was really interesting for the tailing with that information that's being passed about being tailed and in which direction, left, straight, or right. For the tailing, getting it to work for network play, I did not have to send any information across the network. I was able to do all the mathematics on both individual clients. So there's WWI Flying Circus is running on this device, WWI Flying Circus is running on this device, and is able to do the mathematics to so that this device knows that I'm tailing this other over here, and get that information based upon the maneuvers that are being sent. So I guess, yes, so there is information that is being sent from the tailed system to here is the maneuver, whether I'm going forward, straight, or left, or the actual maneuver. So that information has always been sent, though, with network play. And all I'm doing is I'm just interpreting that maneuver, waiting for that maneuver to be sent, and then interpreting it to say whether that's left, straight, or right, and tell this player that information. So, but no additional RPC was coded for the tailing. But for the lost contact, I had to have an extra state for lost contact, and that question about are you searching or are you fleeing? And that answer to that question needs to be sent to the other player so that they can handle then the resolution, because it's that the 4 possibilities for both are searching, but one is fleeing and the other searching, or both are fleeing, and it's a draw. And so I needed to send that information, and this is the RPC call using Photon Unity Network. And then another, this is that small, this is the actual tailing. So yeah, we are in a tailing where we just change basically the change state to the pass and play after we get done with that. And then, so this is the calculation, the mathematical calculation. Say is one airplane tailing the other, and it's a little bit of math in terms of you've got to be behind a plane by a certain, you've got to be behind the plane, but you also have to be looking at the plane within a certain angle of degrees, and you've got to be within a certain distance. And basically, I run through the math and return that yes, it's tailing, or no, it's not. And then this is where the what we call if we're going to restart the game. So after, so I've got a reset game, which is, resets all the variables in there just to make sure everything is pure and and, and virgin. And I also got a reset false content. It only resets the game to the point where it's not going to reset the damage, for example. But it resets all the other parameters to make sure that the game restarts in this position, but with damage and other things kept. So I had to create a similar but different restart for that. And that really is all the code that went into this milestone number 4. So the tailing, working for both the pass and play and for the network. Lost contact, working for both pass and play and the network. And then the network rainy day, working, I was able to get up to that where all the lobby kind of work and the creating the room kind of work, where if there was a network failure, you're automatically pushed out of there and then you get back to home, get back to the main menu with that. But the in-game, once you're playing the game, the network rainy day, wasn't able to get to that in this week. And so I'll be adding that to my to-do list. So with that, cards and letters, always interested in hearing your thoughts and opinions about how things are looking and how you're seeing it on the screen. So enjoying this kind of work. So I'm going to stop my share and stop the recording. So again, thank you very much. Let me know.